Hi everybody, welcome to Story Time. I'm glad to be with you today. So at this point, I think everybody is back at school and I hope that that is going really well. And I know some of you maybe are even actually getting to go to school some of the time. So, I know that sometimes you'll be like, oh, school, I have to go to school, but it also can be really nice to get out of your house and go see other people and be able to see other kids and learn things and just be more of a normal kid. So I hope you're enjoying that. I hope it's going well. I'm going to make a few announcements here at the beginning. One, this is going to be the last story time I'm going to record for a while. There might be some special occasions when I will record things, but I feel like right now everybody has a lot more structure with how they're doing school. So I don't feel like people are needing stuff like this as much. So I'm not going to do story times regularly. If you really like story time and you really want me to do more of them, you can always email me, have your grown-up email me and let me know that. But so this will be the last one. Now, with that said, we have lots of other things going on. So we are going to start having Sunday school on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, and we're going to do a Zoom Sunday school so you can actually join the class and see the lesson and talk to us. We'll also send out the video recording of Sunday school, like if the Zoom time doesn't work for you. So you'll do either the Zoom Sunday school or the video Sunday school. You don't do both. So because they'll be the same lesson. We'll also be starting midweek missions, so look for books then. So I'll be reading books then for midweek missions. And midweek missions will be on Wednesday afternoon. So we're going to try to make it kind of like it normally is on Wednesday afternoon, where there's a lot of stuff going on at church. So at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays, starting on September 16th, the week that Wednesday after Kickoff Sunday, Mrs. Beskey will offer its choir time at 4 o'clock. At 4:30, I will do a midweek missions lesson, and that will be on the main Facebook page for First Community. And after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a Zoom session for different grade levels. So like at 4 will be choir time, at 4:30 will be the midweek lesson, and then at 5:15, I will meet, like with the first week, I'll meet with the 4th and 5th graders. So I'll just have a Zoom session with the 4th and 5th graders only, and we'll do an activity for that day. And the next week, there'll be the lesson, and then I'll meet with the kids who are in 2nd and 3rd grade. And so look for information, because you'll be able to pick up packets. Like, we're planning out the lessons and everything, and we're going to put materials together that you can pick up. So each week you have the materials to do the activity. And I hope you'll do that, because we're going to still do some really fun things, and we're going to do like stuff about community, and then later we're going to do stuff with Thanksgiving basket. So all that is still going to happen. It's just going to happen in a different way. So I hope you'll join me for all of that. Today, I'm going to share a book that is just one of my favorite books it just talks about how we are God's hands. And I really love this book. I love the message of this book. If you spend any time with me, you've probably already seen me read this book, because I like it so much, because I think it explains a lot about how our faith works, about how God works, about our role in the world. So this is called In God's Hands. It's by Lawrence Kushner and Gary Schmidt, illustrations by Matthew J. Bayek. So there's the title page. When the sun sets and the stars fill the sky, the square in the little town grows quiet and still. The cool air of distant hills mingles with the sweet scent of baking bread. The moon rises and glows softly. It's the sort of place where miracles could happen. But miracles were the furthest thing from the imaginations of Jacob and David. Jacob was a rich man. He was too busy thinking about how to make more money to look for a miracle. When he came into the synagogue, the rabbi would hardly begin to speak before Jacob fell sound asleep. When the service was over, Jacob would wake up and walk back home. David was a poor man. He was too busy thinking about how to feed his family to look for a miracle. He was the caretaker of the synagogue. When the prayers were done, he would sweep and dust and tidy up the place. Then he would go back home to a house empty of everything but hungry children. I wonder if you know what a synagogue is. I wonder if you've ever heard that before. And rabbi, do you know that word? We've talked about that before. So a rabbi is like a minister if you're Jewish, and a synagogue is like a church if you're Jewish. So the rabbi works at the synagogue. That's pretty much how it went day after day, and that's how it might have kept on going until one morning Jacob, the rich man, did something he had never done before. He woke up just for a moment during the reading of the Torah. Why did Jacob wake up just then? Who knows? But he did, and long enough to hear one verse from the book of Leviticus. You shall bake 12 loaves of challah and set them before me in 2 rows, 6 in each row. That was it. Then he yawned and fell back to sleep. Do you know I wonder if you know what the Torah is. Well, the Torah is actually part of the Bible. It's even part of the Bible that we use. And it's the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament. So that's the Torah. And I wonder if you know what challah is. Have you ever had challah? It's a kind of bread. When the service was over, Jacob rubbed his eyes and swallowed hard. The sound of the words was still so clear in his ears that he was sure it must have been God who had spoken to him. But why to me of all people, he wondered, and why 12 loaves of bread? On the other hand, who am I to question God? So Jacob, the rich man, hurried home across the square and baked 12 loaves of challah. But now he had a problem, how to get the bread to God. He decided that the synagogue was the holiest place he knew. So he put the loaves of challah in a sack and carried them back to the synagogue. I wonder if you've ever seen letters like that. Those are Hebrew letters, and you actually read it the other direction. But where in the synagogue should he put the challahs? By the doorway? That was too busy. On the shelf of the holy books? Too crowded. By the eastern wall? They might get stepped on. Then Jacob saw the holy ark. Of course, he thought. He walked up the steps, opened the doors to the ark, and carefully set the 12 loaves inside it, in 2 neat rows on the flattened sack, just as God had told him. Then, feeling a little foolish, he closed the doors and walked home. I wonder what's going to happen. No sooner had Jacob left than David, the poor man, came into the synagogue to clean up. He swept, he dusted, and he tidied. Then he stopped in front of the holy ark. His family had so little, and he was so hungry. Oh God, he prayed, we are out of food, O Lord of infinite wisdom and compassion. I am afraid that if you do not see fit to help us soon, we shall starve. Then he opened the doors of the ark, and there they were, 12 loaves of challah. Oh God, David said, I didn't know you worked like that. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, who answers the prayers of those who call upon you in need. Overjoyed, he gathered the 12 loaves into the sack and ran home to show his wife and children the bread from heaven. Are they from heaven? No sooner had he left than Jacob, the rich man, came back into the empty synagogue, curious to see if God really ate challahs. He slowly approached the ark and opened its door. The challahs were gone. Oh my God, he whispered. God, you really ate the challahs. It's a miracle. I thought you were only kidding. Please forgive me. I wasn't sure it was really you, so I scrimped on the eggs. This is wonderful. Next week, I will be back here with 12 new loaves, and this time I will spare no expense. He closed the doors of the ark and ran home to tell his family that God had accepted their gift. So the next week, just as he had promised, Jacob, the rich man, brought to the synagogue 12 new loaves of challah, and this time with raisins. He placed them in 2 neat rows inside the ark. Praised are you, O Lord our God, he said, who accepts the gifts of those who offer them in love. No sooner had Jacob left than David, the poor man, came in. "O God," he prayed, "we have eaten all the challahs you gave us, and some we have given away to those less fortunate, but now there is nothing left again. I know I should not ask, and I hope you won't think me greedy, but do you think in your infinite compassion," he slowly approached the ark as he spoke, "you could somehow see fit to bestow on your servant another small gift, perhaps just one more tiny miracle?" He opened the doors of the ark, and sure enough, there were 12 loaves of challah, and this time with raisins too. "Another miracle, and even better than the first time," cried David. "This is wonderful. Praised are you, O Lord our God, who answers the prayers of those who call upon you in truth." He scooped up the loaves and ran home to share God's gift with his wife and children. And so it went. Week after week, Jacob, the rich man, brought 12 loaves of challah to the ark as a gift for God. And week after week, David, the poor man, brought home 12 loaves of challah from the ark as a gift from God. The weeks grew into months, and the months to years. Jacob's giving and David's receiving became a routine thing. The rich man would run into the empty synagogue and with a sack of challahs and just throw them into the ark. And no sooner did he leave than the poor man would run in and scoop up the challahs and shout, "Thanks, God." Then one day, the rabbi happened to come back into the prayer hall late one afternoon and watched the whole amazing thing. Astonished, the rabbi called Jacob and David back and told them what he had seen. Jacob and David were astonished too. "The Holy Ark is not some kind of heavenly bakery," said the rabbi. I wonder what the rabbi thought. Look at him. He looks kind of like he's amused. "I should have known God doesn't eat challah," said Jacob, his voice low and sad. "There wasn't any miracle after all." "I should have known God doesn't bake challah either," said David, his voice low and sad too. "There wasn't any miracle after all." "You are correct. God does not eat challah, and God does not bake challah," said the rabbi with a kindly smile. "God's miracles are not like that." Then the rabbi took their hands in his. "Now that you know that God does not eat challah and God does not bake challah, you will have to do something even harder. Jacob, you have to go on baking the bread anyway. David, you will have to go on eating the bread also. Now you understand that your hands are God's hands." Jacob and David looked at their hands. Then they looked into each other's faces. They understood. Now, Jacob and David often come to the synagogue together. They sit side by side. Jacob does not fall asleep during prayers, and David's belly does not growl from hunger. After prayers, they come out and stand together in the warm sunshine. If you were there, you might see them, 2 men standing together, looking at one another. 2 men who understand that their hands are the hands of God. The end. I wonder what you think about that book. I just think that's a really amazing message because I think sometimes we ask God to do things for us, or we think something needs to be done, and I think maybe sometimes the thing that needs to be done is the thing that comes into our head, and we're the ones who have to do it, and we're the ones who can make the difference, because maybe God helped that idea go into our heads. So we get to be God's hands in the world, and that's with how you treat people and the things that you do and your kindness and your generosity. So that's the end of our story times for now, at least, unless something changes. And I hope you are well, and I do miss seeing you. And I hope you'll join us for Sunday School on Zoom and Midweek Missions that will be on Facebook. And also we'll have Midweek Missions Zooms. So I hope you'll join us for those activities, and that maybe you'll do choir with Mrs. Beskey. So we're all still here, and we still want to do things with you and do programming with you. And so that when we come back together, we are still, kind of friends, that we still have a relationship. So I hope I can see you soon.